Fresh calls for another investigation into Hillary Clinton's email practices. House Oversight Committee Chairman Jason Chaffetz is now asking federal prosecutors to investigate whether Clinton and her aides destroyed evidence and obstructed justice by deleting emails. Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence brought up the email scandal on the Trail today.
It was a long time ago, when I was still a boy, that I remember a president who deleted 18.5 minutes of tape and was held accountable for that. And now Hillary Clinton deleted almost 18,000 emails. That doesn't look like politics, folks. That looks like obstruction.
The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Jason Chaffetz of Utah, joins us now. Congressman, you have asked federal investigators and the person of the U.S. Attorney in Washington in this letter you've written to go into this. What's your point? What's the key? What's the heart of what you're asking for, and why?
Well, shortly after Benghazi, we put a letter in place saying, please preserve all your emails. That
you say we, you mean your committee?
The Oversight Committee, of which I was the chair of the subcommittee,
right.
and on September 20th, 2012. Fast forward all the way to 2015.
This was in the form of a letter asking the documents be preserved.
Yes.
It wasn't a subpoena.
It was not a subpoena.
Right.
But then you go and look at what Trey Gowdy did as the chairman of the Benghazi Committee, and you go to March 3rd, 2015. He sent a preservation letter. The next day, on March 4th, Chairman Gowdy puts out a subpoena. Then on March 10th of 2015, Hillary Clinton goes out in front of the press and says that she has preserved these things. But then you go to March 25th, which is just days later, after years of not producing these emails to Congress. On March 25th, there's a conference call, and it's between Platte River Networks, who's housing these emails.
These are the provider of the server, right?
Yes, where supposedly many of these emails, which are federal records, they're not Hillary Clinton's emails, they're federal records,
right,
are now housed. And there's a conference call between the management and the engineer at Platte River Networks and the David Kendall, her lead attorney, and Cheryl Mills, her former chief of staff and counsel. Less than a week later, there's a work order to destroy the documents, and then suddenly the documents are destroyed. Now we know from the FBI there were federal records in there.
Right. You know that. Do we know who asked that this be done?
This is why our committee continues to investigate. We were shocked when Director Comey came before the committee and said that he did not look at anything that Hillary Clinton had said under oath. They're doing an investigation of Hillary Clinton. They don't look at what she said under oath. So we have a duty and responsibility to preserve these federal records and to make sure this never happens again and to hold people accountable.
Right. So but you're turning now to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, who is a part of the Justice Department, which is part of the Obama administration, in what I could only describe as the fond hope that you might trigger some kind of investigation. You don't really think that will happen, do you?
I think we have a duty and an obligation to call upon the administration to do that, and it may carry over.
I get that.
But we also want to do stuff ourselves. And look, Congress has been fairly feckless along the way.
Is that why you're trying to get the courts and the Justice Department involved?
Well, look, you look at what Judicial Watch and some of these other groups that have been able to do. They were able to get into the courts. It seems that the Clintons are a little bit afraid of the courts, but not so afraid of Congress. But we do have subpoena authority. We are going to have a series of hearings based on the information that we have learned and gleaned since the FBI investigation concluded. And we have a duty and responsibility to do that. FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act. We got to bring up people on what are these redactions and classifications. And I want to get to the nerds. I want to get to the geeks, the people who actually understand these computers.
The
techies. The techies.
Yeah, I understand that, Congressman. Thanks for being here. Nice to see you,
Thank you.
Sir. And the president of the Philippines is expressing regret over vulgar, to say the least, words he used to describe President Obama. Ambassador John Bolton will be here to discuss that next. Stay tuned. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you.
With my moderate to severe Crohn's disease, I was always searching for ways to manage my symptoms. I thought I had it covered. Then I realized managing was all I was doing. When I finally told my doctor, he said Humira was for people like me, who've tried other medications but still experience the symptoms of moderate to severe Crohn's disease. In clinical studies, the majority of patients on Humira saw significant symptom relief, and many achieved remission.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections